watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Good afternoon, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today, I want to talk about the transgender movement.
I was raised in housing.
No, that has nothing to do with the transgender movement, although jokes can be made. I'm going to refrain from making those jokes for now, but I want to talk about the transgender movement really quick. But first, I do want to say, that I have no, no issues, no negative feelings, no ill will. This is not to voice my opinion against the transgenders or anyone in the LGBTQ community. I'm not anti anybody. I'm anti anyone who's anti me. That's it. If you don't like me, then I don't like you. And then we can just be that way. But other than that, I don't care for the most part, what people do, as long as they don't infringe on the rights of others, right? As long as you're not, encroaching on my rights, my freedom and my liberties, do as you please, right? Your personal business is your personal business. But recently, a lot of communities have been divided across the country. School boards, parents have been in an uproar over the issues with the transgender movement. Many people feel like it's now being forced upon people, forced into schools, forced into communities. You're being forced to accept something that many people do not agree with. And many people are saying, listen, it's not my business what you do, but why is it that it's now being forced upon our kids specifically, right? And this comes from the transgender hour that they're going to be having at the Riverfront Library. And someone told me about this. So 11, this is actually, well, let me go first to the other one. They're going to be actually protesting this story time. What do you think? Come meet the fabulous Angela Electra, drag queen extraordinaire, for a fun-filled story time with books and songs. Drag Story Hour uses storytelling and sparkle to give kids the confidence to express themselves while learning about gender diversity and empathy. This program is co-sponsored by Yonkers Pride. This event is open to children and families. Adults in attendance must be accompanied by a child. Adults in attendance must be accompanied by a child. Isn't it usually children in attendance must be accompanied by adults? I don't know. So that's what's happening at the Riverfront Library. This is going to be, I believe, on Friday. So people are protesting. What do you think? 11 a.m. this Friday, June 23rd. Please join us in protesting Drag Queen Story Hour at Yonkers Riverfront Library across from the train station. Drag Queen Story Hour at Yonkers Riverfront Library. We need your help. In Yonkers, last Saturday's protest at the New Road Library was very successful. Now we have to do even better on Friday. In Yonkers, there is safety in numbers. This story hour is scheduled for Friday, June 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Are kids not in school? We are planning to meet there with some signs to protest this activity. What do you think about that? What do you folks think about that? Again, I don't have an issue with what people do, but why does it seem like kids specifically are being targeted? That's all I just don't understand why they're doing. I mean, and they're comparing this to the BLM, right? The BLM movement, they're marginalized. Transgenders have been marginalized. People in the LGBTQ community have been marginalized. If you ask me, and you ask many people, however, the LGBTQ transgender community has been getting a lot of support, have been getting a lot of, things their way. I mean, like Drag Story Hour, right? But you compare it to BLM, but it wasn't like Black people in America were trying to read to your kids or force some kind of, ideology or, social construct onto your kids, right? They didn't say, hey, you have to be this way. We want you to, accept this you know, which was nothing other than the color of our skin, right? But Black people still were going to work. They still, you know, for the most part, you know, did what everybody else in their community. It didn't matter what color. But with this is a bit different. So I don't know if there should be any comparison to BLM and, you know, the plight of Blacks in America. The issue with this is that it seems to be targeting kids, and some of the activities and the events have been a little bit or a lot just inappropriate for kids. I've seen videos where men's penises was really all out. Little kids are there. I've seen men with fake boobs. They're just out and about. I've seen, you know, men with leather bondage surrounding young kids with barely any clothes on. And it just doesn't appear right. As a parent, to me, it didn't seem okay. And I only imagine if there were, you know, a group of men surrounding a young girl that way, people would be like, that's inappropriate. That's way inappropriate. But somehow, some way, this gets a pass. And then other areas like, you know, sports, that's been a big issue. Transgender in sports, males wanting to compete in female sports. I mean, listen, it's not you can't. You just, it's not. It doesn't matter if you know, transition, right? Or you know, you consider yourself a female physically, biologically, you're still a male, and you hold some advantages at times over the female, like maybe in height, in strength. It's a fact. It's a fact. And I want to play this really quick. This video. This is a bicyclist. She won the bicycling tournament, right? But it's a male.
Legally and medically female.
Insane.
But the people who oppose my existence still want to think of me as male. They use the language of that I'm a man. And so there's this stereotype that men are always stronger than women. And so if you think of trans women as men, then you think there's an unfair advantage.
Men are always stronger than women. Yeah, you know, listen, there's different ways to have strength, right? You have emotional strength, mental strength, physical strength, right? But in sports, we're talking about physical strength. And it's a fact that men are just physically taller, many times physically built differently than women. It's just a fact. It's just a fact, right? That's why it's not okay for a man to hit a woman or fight a woman, because, you know, you're a man, right? It's frowned upon. You know, we like, yo, you know, what are you doing? But another man, sure, go at it, right? And another issue that many people have taken with, you know, this movement has been the forcing of transitioning upon kids. There are actually groups now, nonprofit organizations that are, you know, fighting in Congress and, you know, fighting to get laws where they will allow kids to make the decision to transition on their own without having parents' permission. Doesn't matter what age they are. And they did this with the COVID vaccine. In some states, 12-year-olds were allowed to say, I want the COVID vaccine, and their parents could not stop them. Their parents, in fact, could have gone to jail if they tried to stop their 12-year-old child from getting the COVID vaccine. And so now there are groups and organizations that are pushing to get this laws and have laws all across the country where teenagers and young kids can make the decision on their own without having their parents being able to stop them for, you know, transitioning. So I want to play this video of a teenager who transitioned really quick and let you hear their experience. And the reason why I play this is because this is a, you know, a story that many people who have transitioned are having. And this is not being played on, you know, the news, you know, commercial news or mainstream news, I should say. You're not seeing this on CNN. You're not seeing this on NBC, not even on Fox. But this is important because these are many kids who are coming out and speaking out against transitioning, especially at an early age. And the pressures that they get, not only from these agencies, but even their parents. And so I want you to hear this person's story.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a 17-year-old detransitioner from the Central Valley. I was medically transitioned from ages 13 to 16. My parents took me to a therapist who affirmed my male identity, and the therapist did not care about causality or encourage me to learn to be comfortable in my body. He brushed off my parents' concerns about the efficacy of hormones, puberty blockers, and surgeries. My parents were given the threat of suicide as a reason to move me forward in my transition. My endocrinologist, after 2 to 3 appointments, put me on puberty blockers and injectable testosterone. At age 15, I asked to remove my breasts. My therapist continued to affirm my transition. I attended a top surgery class that was filled with around 12 girls that thought they were men. Most were my age or younger. None of us were going to be men. We were fleeing from the uncomfortable feeling of becoming women. I was unknowingly physically cutting off my true self from my body, irreversibly and painfully. Our trans identities were not questioned. I went through with surgery. Despite having therapists and attending the top surgery class, I really didn't understand all of the ramifications of any of the medical decisions I was making. I wasn't capable of understanding, and it was downplayed consistently. My parents, on the other hand, were pressured to continue my so-called gender journey with a suicide threat. I will never be able to breastfeed a child. I have blood clots in my urine. I am unable to fully empty my bladder. I do not yet know if I am capable of carrying a child to full term. In fact, even the doctors who put me on puberty blockers and testosterone do not know. SB 107 is circumventing states' laws that have needed safeguards in place so my story is not repeated. Children cannot consent. Vote no on SB 107.
So this is California trying to pass a law to allow children to give the consent for them to transition. Like, I mean, listen, when they become an adult, that's what they want to do. That's their decision. That's fine. But to take away a parent's right over their child blows my mind. I don't know where we've gotten to as a country, but things are not kosher. Things are not okay. We are definitely going through a spiritual warfare. If you don't see it, you need to wake up and open up your eyes. We are under attack. There's something out there that does not like humans, does not like people. Think of the pandemic and what they did to people then. And even artificial intelligence. What does that mean? Get rid of the humans? Replace them with machines? That's what we want to do? We have to think about what's happening and who are the people that are doing it to us. Forcing kids to transition, forcing parents, trying to give them, the kids, the right, the consent to make a decision that's forever. This is worse than a tattoo or a piercing. They're cutting off their biological parts. Many are suicidal. And it's not because of society and the way that people look at transgenders, because I don't look at transgender negatively. I don't hate them. I don't think we should discriminate against anyone. But what I do see is a mental health issue. And I'm not talking about people who are gay, who just date the same sex. I'm talking about people who are willing to cut off their biological parts, who truly believe that they are the opposite sex. And for some reason, it's mostly with men. And so we have to do a little more research, do a little more studying into this. It used to be once called, gender dysphoria. And there's even people who have a dysphoria where they believe their limbs are not theirs. So they want to cut off their limbs. There's people who think this, but they don't let them cut their limbs off. Unless, of course, it's your penis or your breast, then that's okay. It's strange. But folks, the reality is that a male is a male and a female is a female. It's just how it works. We have chromosomes. The human genome is organized into 23 pairs of chromosomes, with each parent contributing one chromosome per pair. The X and Y chromosomes, also known as the sex chromosomes, determine the biological sex of an individual. Females inherit an X chromosome from the father for an XX genotype, while males inherit a Y chromosome from the father for a XY genotype. Mothers only pass on X chromosomes. The presence or absence of the Y chromosome is critical because it contains the genes necessary to override the biological default female development and cause the development of the male reproductive system. So there you have it. That's what determines your sex. Yes, do males have different chromosomes than females? Yes, they differ in a pair of chromosomes known as the sex chromosomes. Females have 2 X chromosomes in their cells, while male have one X and one Y chromosome. There you have it. There's nothing more to it. And so we have to understand the biology of it. You can think you are the opposite sex. You can believe that, just like you can believe that you are entitled to all the riches in the world, or you can think that you are a king. You can believe that you are a queen. You can believe that you are white, black, or whatever other color you want. There are people out there, and you can go online and see the videos, who believe they are an animal. And they go about their day like whatever animal it is that they believe they are. This is a fact. Where do we draw the line? And again, do as you please, but we must leave the kids alone. Why are kids being targeted? Why are they doing drag story hours for kids? It doesn't make sense to me. Why are they allowing males to compete with women? Create a transgender league. There you go. What if I wanted to compete in the Special Olympics? Would I be allowed to? I believe I'm special. You let me know, folks. What do you think? I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. I just want to talk about that. Will you be attending the Drag Story Hour as a participant or as a protester? By the way, we're all special.
Fatality.
Regardless of who you really are, just respect each other's rights. Many parents are against this. Respect the parents' rights. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. See you very soon.
Freddie wins.
Got a meeting to go to.
Fatality.
No!
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
No!